Officially rank 1 in Maze of Death and rank 4 in Precise Moment. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how we did it. Smoked them! Smoked them!
Oh my god, I missed all of it.
Man said abort mission.
I missed every fucking thing, dude.
Solo, bro. They have a healer. We don't win this. Maybe we do. That fucking fireball, bro. Please! Oh! Oh! Let's go! Let's go! Let's fucking go! Yo, what is good, you guys? Welcome to the video. Today, I'm going to teach you how to play Eradicator, aka Staff Spear, at a high level. I'm going to start off by saying in PvE, this class is S tier. The damage is amazing. And for PvP large scale, S tier. For PvP small scale, medium scale, it's closer to A tier. This class performs a lot better in a group when you have some people support you or healer, because you have insane damage, but you don't have a lot of utility and sustain due to lack of daggers, right? But the build is fun, and ultimately that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. So let's go ahead and hop into it. All right, I'm gonna start off by showing you guys my build. So for PvE, this is the build. The skill specializations that I'm running for strictly PvE, it revolves around Ember, fire damage. Your main DPS combo is actually Explosive Fury with increased damage on burst stacks and Javelin Inferno, um, Phoenix Barrage. You're gonna Rising Slash into Explosive Fury because the all like all of your damage from Rising Slash is going to come from the increased damage on Burning Ignite. So you Rising Slash into Explosive Fury to stack as many its mini burst and ignite stacks into the second Rising Slash, and then you're gonna Phoenix Barrage into Javelin Inferno. Your staff skills, and this is mainly for bossing, you guys. So you're gonna use Focus Fire Bombs, Chain Lightning, Ice Spear. You don't need anything on Judgment Lightning. This is mainly for bossing, like I said. So the difference is that for like traditional PvE content, open world content, you're gonna want the AoE on your lightning skills. So essentially, you're gonna take off the points from the explosive damage and the critical aftermath and the Phoenix Barrage, and you're just gonna put them into your AoE skills on staff. But for bossing, we take these off and we go for the increased critical damage and extra damage on Phoenix Barrage, um, and we take off the range and we go for explosive damage on Rising Slash. That is our PvE setup. Now let me show you guys what the rotation looks like. We are going to fully buff Fireball, Ice Spear, Judgment Lightning, Rising Slash, Explosive Fury, full stacks, another one, Phoenix Barrage, and then at that point we can alternate between our Chain Lightning, our Javelin Inferno, and essentially the only time we're ever really going to use Fireball Barrage is before we enter Peace. That way we don't really lose too much DPS while we're buffering with Inner Peace. But that is the rotation, you guys. You pretty much want to use Fireball off cooldown. You want to use Ice Spear, Judgment Lightning off cooldown, and you want to Rising Slash, Explosive Fury, Phoenix Barrage during your burst windows when you can get all Explosive Fury hits off. Keep in mind, if you stop attacking with Explosive Fury, then you will lose the ability to keep consecutively using the skill. So you only want to use Explosive Fury during your burst windows during fights. And you always want to Phoenix Barrage after Explosive Fury. That way you have max stacks. That way you do the most amount of damage with Phoenix Barrage and make the most use of critical aftermath, which gives you more critical damage because you will have the most ignite stacks, right? You'll have the most ember stacks, and then you'll get a crit damage bonus, and then hopefully you can go into Fireball or you can go into Javelin Inferno spam, and then you're basically just going to be heavy attacking and using extremely high heavy attacks to buffer your damage with Javelin Inferno and heavy attacks. Okay, that is the PvE build and PvE rotation. Now for PvP, it is distinctively different. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you guys the PvP build. As you see, there are a couple changes. We're using Death from Above. You never initiate with this skill unless you're initiating on enemies that don't know you're there. If you're being targeted, never initiate with this skill. It's more of a skill you can use after you're repositioning in the fight and you want to re-engage after disengaging. Um, or you can use it as a group CC if you're not being targeted. Um, Essentially, we're using Tempest Strike as another group CC. When you go in with Gale Rush, you can instantly Tempest Strike to knock the opponent's back and CC. However, one other combo that I want to let you guys know is you can Ice Spear Bombardment into Gale Rush into Tempest Strike, because if they're bound, when you hit them with Tempest Strike, it actually counts as a knockdown. I know that it says on the actual like tooltip applies collision push. That collision push is actually a knockdown, and it's a prone. And when they're prone, they cannot retaliate, right? They cannot cleanse that. Tempest Strike is actually a prone skill when you hit them on bind. So I really like this combo. Ice Spear, Gale Rush into Tempest if you land Ice Spear. Otherwise, you can simply just Gale Rush into Tempest and get the stun. And you can Gale Rush into Explosive Fury as well. That way you have Ember stacks. You don't always have to Jive with Inferno after, but just keep in mind after you use Explosive Fury, you will always have those 5 stacks on Jive with Inferno. But those are your main DPS combos. Obviously, Judgment Lightning after they have max burning stacks, if you can, it's always really good. Um, so what our staff skill specializations are looking like, we're also stacking Burning on Inferno Wave, Chain Lightning, Ice Spear Bombardment, Victorious Judgment. We are using the slow on Javelin Inferno. That way we can really stop the group from moving. If we cleave a group with Javelin Inferno, they're all 50% slowed. And this really helps with taking down healers as they can't really kite you as well. And then we have Explosive Fury as usual. Unyielding Shield to give you a 4K buffer on Unyielding Sentinel. One thing to note is that in our PvE build, we use Sentinel's Bastion. That way we instantly get the heavy attack. But for PvP, we only use the shield because we do want those CC resistances. So keep in mind when you use Unyielding Sentinel, you have 6 seconds of basic CC immunity. It's going to be very hard to CC you with Unyielding on. Another thing I forgot to mention is we have taken off Flame Condensation for Echoic Barrier for the simple fact of in small scale, if you get hit with Shadow Strike, it is very detrimental to your class. There's a lot of skills you cannot cast when silenced, and you really want this resistance. However, for large scale, it's going to be typically better to just use Flame Condensation for the extra heavy attack stacking. Yeah, it's between Flame Condensation and Mana Eruption, which you take off. The reason I don't want to take off Mana Eruption is because of the mana sustain, as well as it's like guaranteeing damage pretty much when it procs, whereas Flame Condensation has to stack, and it's sometimes hard to stack this in PvP, but complete preference, I believe. It's justified either way. The other passives that we're getting is the attack speed weaken, and we have so many weakens in this build, and extra heavy attack, extra crit, and extra skill damage, right? Extra heavy attack here, extra crit here, extra skill damage. But essentially in PvP, like I said, Ice Spear, then you can Gale Rush into a Tempest. Once they're stunned, you can start your explosive combo, maybe drop a fireball into Javelin. Make sure you're throwing out your Chain Lightning as well. After you have your like max attack speed stacks, that's when it's kind of worth it to use Death from Above. Typically, if you Death from Above, you want your Explosive Fury to be off cooldown. That way you can Death from Above into Explosive Fury. When you're waiting on one of your engagement skills, Gale Rush or Death from Above, typically you want to be using your range skills. As you have burning stacks on a target, that's typically the best moment to use Judgment Lightning. These are just rules of thumbs, right? But your main combo is definitely going to be Ice Spear, Gale Rush, Tempest, Explosive. You can Judgment Lightning at this point, or you can Fireball at that point into Judgment Lightning, and then you're pretty much gonna buffer with stacking more fire on Inferno and Javelin Inferno while using Chain Lightning, waiting for the rest of your kit to come up. At that point, that's like I said, you can either re-engage with Death from Above or Gale Rush into more Explosive Fury. The rotation on this class is almost infinite if you time it correctly with your buffs, your Victorious Energy, and your Unyielding Sentinel. Your Victorious Energy will make sure that you always have something off cooldown. So this class isn't really about using cooldowns, more so about using the right skill, the right combo for the right situation. Okay. Let me go ahead and show you guys my gear. So for PvE, I would recommend using 4-piece Shadow Harvester. However, I only have 3-piece right now. I only have 3-piece. I only have 3-piece Shadow Harvester. That's fine though. I'll still be able to hit rank 1 with this. However, if I was full PvE, I would have 4-piece Shadow Harvester for the extra attack speed, and I would probably have Swirling Essence chest piece. However, I am mostly a PvPer, so I typically swap between Heroic Grips and Shadow Harvester depending on the situation for the extra hit and evasion. However, currently this build is 50, 60, 51 with a few extra stats here and there. You can see our max damage right now. It is with Spear 538 and with Staff it's 420. Blaze up. Perfect for a fire build, dude. And then you can kind of look at our defensive stats, which aren't really that important for PvE, but for PvP, like I said, we like to use these gloves. That way we have the extra hit. This kind of brings us up to 1,000 magic hit and 1,000 melee hit as well. 1650 magic evasion, 1,000 ranged evasion, 800 endurance. I want to bring up masteries because for PvE, you're always going to want to use the middle row first. Once you have max mastery, obviously you'll have more versatility. But I think for PvP, it's better to use the extra endurance. That way you have less chance to get crit. Extra 100, 100, 100, 300 endurance or whatever. It's really going to help you hit those higher endurance thresholds as we're working towards our runes. Runes adds a lot of complexity to the build. But I'm saying right now that the blue synergies give you more stats than the actual runes themselves. So the goal is to hit blue synergies on all of your accessories and gear, and then work on the actual runes that you want. You'll see my synergies here: Dex attack speed, critical hit damage reduction, perception health, health damage reduction. But yeah, always on weapons, you want to go for the dex, the extra dex. Alright. That is my magic range build for PvP and PvE. And then I also have a melee evasion build that you can use for PvP mostly. 50-50, 46 has about 800 hit, which is pretty decent. It also has 1800 melee evasion and 1100 ranged evasion. Pretty solid evasions with this build. Main handing staff. But I will say this, with my current masteries, I'm not using the extra evasion on staff. I've swapped over to full DPS on staff because I'm in the midst of swapping to spear as my defensive weapon. That way I have the extra evasion and endurance. I'm going to lose a bit of damage from normal attacks, but you'll gain extra endurance and evasion. So it's fine for PvP. Yeah, that's my gear. Those are my runes. Those are my synergies. It's my build. Those are the combos. Um, Thanks so much for watching the video, you guys. Peace and love.